Hey, what's up? It's Decker, and I'm here with the band Fuel. And
What's up?
it's great to have you guys here. You played a couple of tracks for us from the early days, and we just announced that you're on the Summer of '99 festival happening in Alpine Valley. Tell me, how did that whole festival come to be?
We have a guy called a booking agent, and his job is to get us shows. And then we pay them money, and we play shows.
And then they pay you money.
He did a good job. No, it's great. So we toured with the Creed way back. I mean, we have the story of they got all their gear stolen when we were in trailers and vans. All their gear got stolen one night, and we let them have all our stuff for one.
It was the first show we ever played with them.
Yeah,
for real.
So they wheeled in
Yeah.
with their van, and their tour manager went up to our tour manager and said, "We have zero gear." And we were already set up because we had sound checked prior, and we were just like, Mikasa Sukasa, man, here's our stuff. So they used all our drums, cymbals, everything, guitars, rigs.
We got history. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of tours with
Not
those
just,
guys.
yeah,
And a
made
lot of
big
those
points
bands-
with those guys at that moment, but been friends ever since.
Seven Dust, we did some tours. I don't know if Seven Dust is on that show or not. I can't keep it all straight, but we've toured with a lot of bands. We toured a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
you guys-
played a lot of shows.
You've been around for a while, and what is the fire that keeps Fuel burning?
Money.
Money.
It's not the money, it's the money.
It's
Then
no.
why are we doing this?
Yeah.
You just-
Well, obviously there's been some lineup changes throughout the years of Fuel, and then kind of circled back around. Carl, it's Carl's band, always been Carl's band, and for a while there
Lucky me.
he let Brett have the name for a minute for about 10 years, and then kind of came back around to Carl, and Carl and I just got talking one day, and I was just like, hey, I kind of got this whole band, and we could do this again, and grab some of my guys.
I said, no way.
Lies.
No, not doing it.
Lies. So we ended up Carl ended up during COVID driving from Las Vegas to Pennsylvania and met the new guys, and we played a couple songs and hung out, and then we decided to make a record, and that was with a different singer. And then we made about a year or so, and that kind of went belly up.
Having lead singers is hard.
Yeah, so it went belly up with the little guy, and then my wife was watching some videos because we were searching for a new lead singer, and she showed me a bunch of videos, and then she's like, this guy from Wisconsin, man, he was just on The Voice, and I remember seeing the video and went, whoa. And I immediately sent it to Carl. Carl calls me up and is like, whoa. And my wife, being a typical wife, is very good at tracing everything down in your entire history, anybody else's. Yeah. So she got me in contact with Aaron. I ended up calling him up, and the rest is history. He came on board. Actually, we were supposed to do some Air Force shows. We had some shows booked a couple weeks away. And I said, Aaron, you feel like coming to Pennsylvania and kind of playing some songs with us and see how things feel, and if it works out, we can go do some Air Force shows, because we hadn't released the other guy at that moment. So Aaron came into the garage, completely killed it, and that night I called Carl up.
But I wasn't there.
He was not there.
I said, rehearse him, see what happens.
Yeah, I just kind of vetted him without Carl there, and he really did a great job, and continuing to do a great job.
But the first shows we played, the first time I stepped on the stage, I had never met him.
Oh, first
just flew to the Air Force shows.
I'm like, Kevin, you better be right. And so we had 4 shows booked, like 4.
Yeah.
We're out.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
If
this
this guy
guy
sucks, we're
sucks the
done.
first
Yeah.
night. This is going to be a long 4 shows. And I was petrified to tell you that because it was like a lot. And so we stepped on stage the first night.
Yeah.
Aaron sang like you knew, you had it all
Killed it.
down. And so I was like, oh, God. But it's a moment there where I'm like, Kevin, you better be right.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, I mean, obviously you're in the band now, and that was a hell of a get, to go from in 2020, the pandemic, you were in Wisconsin, a special ed teacher, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And then to get a call, be like, hey, do you want to stop teaching, and do you want to go and tour America with us real quick?
This whole thing has been pretty surreal. The movie Rockstar, where it's just this guy is called up on stage. Mark Wahlberg is called up on stage to take over this job.
Miles Kennedy.
And Miles eventually,
He was in the audience,
which was
yeah.
pretty sweet. But anyway, that experience, it felt like I was living the movie. In 2020, I'm a special ed teacher. I get a little bit of time on The Voice. Don't spend much time there. Sing a Fuel song, Hemorrhage. and I'm sent home, and I'm hoping for something to develop from that in music. But about a couple of years go by where I'm home still teaching, and I'm just trying to stay hungry. You talk about what keeps the fuel burning, and it was just that desire to do what I love. And it's so funny that you ask about Creed, because one night I'm opening for Scott Stapp, who's in Wisconsin Dells at the Crystal Grand, and I meet some guys in the Fuel camp that are at the show helping out. Kyle, who's behind the camera and a big part of what we do, is there. Ask
Hi,
me.
Kyle.
Yeah, you don't see him, but he was a big part of this. He works with Creed. He works with these
Machine.
guys. Yeah, we call him the Machine. I don't know if he likes that, but we are. But he's there, and he just walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, can I get your number? I might have some guys who might need your help." And I'm like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I work with Fuel." And sure enough, the next morning, I get this text message. I don't know where it's from, but it's from this guy. And the whole experience is just crazy, because before you know it, I'm learning 18 songs, and I'm flying out to Pennsylvania, and I'm in his garage, and they ask me, what's the first song you want to sing? And I said, let's do Shimmer. And sure enough, the first lick starts, and I'm in my head, I'm just, is this real? This can't be real. And then it was fun. These guys are great. They're so down to earth. You would think, you never know what you're going to get when you're walking into a camp like this. They're so humble, accommodating, because
well, on the internet, nobody says that about me on the internet.
they tell me they're humble. Sure. And so no, but it was great, because I step out, and sure enough, there's Carl Bell, the guy who wrote these songs that I grew up listening to as a part of my history, and he's on stage with me, just to my right, and I'm singing these songs, and so it's been keep coming to those moments where it's just wow. And then we're on the Creed cruise last year, and then we're on the festival. We're going again. So these bands that I grew up loving, I know them now, and wow.
Yeah, we have like a 20-year history with most of those bands, 20-year plus. And Aaron walks up to me on the boat, and he's like, dude, all these bands, they were all on my playlist.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm on the same stage as them.
Yep.
But Carl and I do have to come clean about something. We really hired you because you were a special eds teacher. You're the only guy that could deal with us.
It's coming handy.
It's the perfect thing.
Yeah.
Wait. We hired Aaron. You've been doing great, by the way, but we didn't know this, but now we found out he had a collapsed lung the month before.
Well, it was a
He
few
was
years
about to get
before.
braces on his teeth. We're
Yes.
like, oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, I came with my baggage.
He's been great. He's been awesome.
I forgot about the braces. Because when I went to fly him in, I'm like, all right, you're gonna come rehearse and all that, and if it works out, man, maybe we can go do some shows. He goes,
He calls me.
I have something to say, and I'm like, yeah, and he goes, I just put braces on my
Fucking
teeth.
metal,
And I
the
was
whole
like-
thing out. Clear it
all out.
I call Carl and I'm like, well, he's really great, but he's got a whole steel mouth. He looks like the
Metal
dude,
mouth. We
yeah,
said
the guy
metal
from
mouth.
007. What was Jaws?
That's great. It's really cool to see how much the scene has really picked up in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
there's obviously the
Tis
the
true.
lull, and coming out of the post grunge era, it was a really tough time for bands to stand out. But what can you say about that? But now, 25 years later, we're getting those big giant tours and the festivals and going out on cruises. What do you think? Other than nostalgia is what's fueling sorry to keep using that word.
No, it's okay.
But
We'll charge you for that.
Okay.
For usage.
oh, that sounds good. Hit me up with that.
I don't know. I think it is some nostalgia, though. I think a lot of people that have grown up with that are kind of reliving.
Dude, let's not lie to ourselves. We're the new classic rock. We're old as dirt.
I didn't want to say
it's true.
When,
No,
when
but-
you guys were out, I was in 8th grade.
Well,
And
right. So
like,
the bands that Carl and I love, they're all dying off. Like literally, all those guys they're just going away, and we are now that next level guy. It is what it is. I mean, I just
Next
clicked
man up
62
almost,
years
right?
old, but loving it, outdoing it. So it's I don't take offense to it. I'm kind of honored that we're able to loop back around and now be re-relevant. And we're working on a new album right now to make us even more relevant. So we got a lot of cool stuff happening. We're getting some great tours. The whole Creed thing is just amazing for us. And just Creed alone is
Creed's bigger now than they were back then, I think, and they were huge back then.
Yeah,
Now,
and I mean,
was
not
talking
what there's what is it? Which song is coming back to #1 right now? 20 years later.
One last breath.
One last breath.
Yeah, One Last Breath. It's just like all 20 years later, it's like moving up the charts again. And so God bless him, man. Lightning hit him again, and it's awesome. It's probably better this time.
Yeah,
But enough about them.
yeah, exactly. You said something interesting. You're working on a new album. Tell me about the new album that you're working on.
Well, these two guys wrote it.
Okay.
So
Then you guys tell me about it.
Yeah. Aaron and I started, it's the process of being in a band together. You just go, well, what do you got? What do you got? I don't know. You have that whole thing happening, and Aaron would send stuff over, and I would send stuff over to him. And I've got a back catalog of 1 billion songs, but I'm like, you always want to write something better, and I can beat all that. That whole pile of songs, I know I can beat that. And so that's what we started doing. And just evolved into this stuff. And I've never been in a band with a guy that can run Pro Tools, sit behind a computer, write songs, send full flushed out ideas, and go, here's this. And I went, that blew me away. Because again, I've never been in a band with a guy that actually could.
yeah, like I write songs, they just suck. But I remember getting the phone call from Carl saying, dude, this is the most amazing thing. No offense, Miller, but it's so nice to have a guy in a band that brings me fresh stuff. And, Carl has openly admitted that Aaron took him to a different place because he's looking at what would Fuel sound like now, in 2025. No, like Carl, he's got his thing, but he was like, man, it was so refreshing to me mentally to be like, ooh, I never thought about going there or there with the stuff. So it's
we kind of talked too, is what we wanted
and back
to
and
do.
forth.
Aaron had said, just kind of said, I want to do stuff. The live show is what bands have now. That's more, the publishing and all of that stuff that used to be there's kind of with the streaming stuff. It's just, you just don't. It's like 0.00001.
Yeah.
So none of that stuff hasn't. Point being, the live show I feel like is basically your bread and butter now.
Yeah, that's where we make our
and
living.
so the songs are a lot of up, heavy tempo, a little heavier than what we've been before. I mean, we've had this kind of sound before, but this is kind of like a whole record of that kind of sound. Kind of like Won't Back Down has more keys and more up tempo stuff. And I said, let's do that. Let's go down that route. And so Aaron was kind of going down that route as well, and we just started handing stuff off like that. So.
And you to talk about the nostalgia. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you are. I grew up with this music, so I really get the unique experience of being a fan and being a bandmate. So I can put on both of those hats and say, this is like me as a Fuel fan, this is what I'd want Fuel to sound like in 2025. And so we can have that conversation. And then you throw an idea at this guy. This is Carl Bell. He's going to tell you if it's good or not, and he's going to be right. He knows what he's doing.
I had received plenty of phone calls from Aaron going, hey, dude, that song I sent you? I was like, yeah. He said, what do you think? I'm like, it's pretty good, And he goes, I haven't heard anything from Carl in 3 days, man. It must suck. and it never sucked, man.
I did apologize. I hate to leave somebody hanging when they send a song because I know how that feels.
But Carl ingests things and really, in his mind, he's got a weird thing going on up there all the time. And
yes, I do.
he processes stuff much different. That's why I'm not a songwriter. And these guys they think about things way differently than average people do, and that's why Carl is writing #1 songs and all that stuff. It's just.
It was a good process, and right now we just did a record. We just went into the studio, and we're recording right now, and we've got most of it recorded. We're going to the mixing stage. Excited to hear what it all comes out sounding like. Excited for everybody to hear what it's going to sound like. We're really stoked. Again, it's completely the same thing that Fuel is, but it as well as taking a step forward, one step in the past, 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the future. That kind of concept, which is what you always, at least that's what we always try to do. Sure. And we're excited, man. We're really excited. And Aaron's singing great. I have the greatest band maybe I've ever been in, from as far as just as a whole. I'm not in all respect to all the other guys I've been in bands with, but we have a great time. We want quality of life. I want you to have quality of life. I want people out there listening to have quality of life, and that's what we want as well. And so you know, that's kind of what we're just kind of going for. Have a great time. Be in a band, but have a great time.
Bands are tough.
Bands are
Being
tough.
in a band is
not
it's
easy.
not. I mean, you're dealing with all those different personalities every day of your life, and when you're together a lot, you know, he might be having a bad day, I might be having a bad day, and it's hard to internalize that shit when you're pissed off. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but you got to in your head go, okay, I don't want to wreck my bandmate's day. So, you know, when somebody walk out, hey, dude, you're a little quiet today, and you're just, you know,
Yeah.
could be a home problem, could be
Yeah.
a life problem, whatever. It just, but the thing is to try. I think where Carl's going with this, it's the most respectful guys in this bunch that is always cognizant of where they should be mentally for the rest of the band, and it's made such an impact on us. Touring wise, being together all the time. I mean, this is the first band that I've been in as well with this bunch of guys where we all go to dinner every night. And our crew guys.
You don't want to miss
know,
dinner. I don't want to
Yeah,
miss
you don't, because
We're gonna
dinner
be
for us now is
laughing
in
and
trouble.
picking at each
Yeah, I
other.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, like if everybody, you know, there's
Which
times
is,
where
sounds normal, but that's not.
It's
not
just
normal.
not.
Like
No,
most
I've
bands,
seen lots of bands where no,
No,
one hangs out
no,
at all.
no,
and
that's
you get
right,
them on stage
and
like-
this has been the complete opposite for almost 2 years now. It's
Yeah.
just like, you know, we have this group thread going, and our tour manager, front of house guy Kyle, will be like, "Hey guys, I'm heading over to grab some lunch," and you could just watch it go bring, 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 and like everybody's going to lunch. You know what I mean? Because it's just a nice hang.
And I think it's the point is you don't have to try to be.
Yeah, you
You're
just
not I know you say you know your mental thing and all that stuff, but you don't even think about it because finally. You're in a band with
Yeah,
a bunch of
it's
guys
not that it's
just
hard.
enjoy hanging out, and that's it sounds normal, but that's absolutely not normal, right? As a band goes, so
Well,
it's fun.
It's awesome that you guys are in such a great space. I'm very excited to hear the new music, and I'm really appreciative of you guys coming in today and,
Right
and
on.
chatting about it. Thanks so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you very
right.
much. Thank you.
Thanks for having us, brother.
No problem.
Thank you. Doctor.